Hello. Welcome to Illusion Fox Gaming. Today we're doing the level 100 Botanist minor role quest here in Dawntrail, Wellspring of Tears. Shunyi brightens up more than usual at your arrival to his apothecary. You're here, just in time. I would seek counsel from my best gatherers. Uvlo, a moment if you will. Before I begin, I would once again like to offer my thanks. What you brought back from Yoctel was more than I could have imagined. Even so, our efforts were lacking. We still have yet to identify the origins of the tears. Have you thought of where we might go next? Matter of speaking, I suppose, but I must warn you, I can't say for certain we'll find anything. Most of my knowledge of the tears comes from stories I've heard from fellow merchants. In fact, it was a merchant from Ixbrox who suggested Yoctel as a place of inquiry. Given its history with meteorites, we often exchange information as well as goods. Although that lead ultimately bore no fruit. Looking back, I believe my mistake was relying solely on incomplete information. I see we're on the same track. The merchant in question was of this Rawl, and as such may not have been privy to information from Mamook. Although the two tribes are now at peace, their history is one of conflict. Even if the merchant hadn't been one of their ancestral enemies, the Mamuja who populate Mamook are known to be wary of outsiders. I understand times have changed in that respect, but I wonder how realistic it would be to try and seek information in Mamook. You've been there before? Of course. We've been working together for so long, I almost forgot about your storied history. Obviously, the right of succession brought you to every corner of Tyrol. Then I give you this task. Go to Mamook and speak with the people there. Perhaps someone has seen something that resembles the tears. You should accompany her. I can manage the shop well enough in your absence. That's kind of you truly, but if you're even half as good at gathering information as you are at gathering materials, then your talents would be wasted here. Please, go with them. I shall remain here and wait your gifts of good tidings. You can be sure of it. Then let's depart from Mamook. Hopefully we can learn something of use down here. Right here, I suppose now we split up and speak with whomever we see. You disagree? Ah yes, Master Shunwei did mention the Mamuja here are wary of outsiders. You take the lead. I shall follow and learn. Hate these quests. Saying to understand that Mamook was a rather isolated settlement, yet an aetherite stands at its entrance? Makes me wonder whether one could be built in my village. Ah, 'tis a thought best forgotten. I hear the cost of maintaining an aetherite is quite exorbitant. Every day I spend in the outside world, I realize more and more how it revolves around money. Well, I mean, if it's not a natural one, yeah, they cost money. And require maintenance. I recognize you. You were with Baku Jaja, weren't you? What message do you have with one such as me? A crystallized stone shaped like a teardrop? Can't say I've seen such a thing. If I had, I'm sure I would have remembered it. Do you think I remember every single rock I lay eyes on? That's one thing we don't have any shortage of around here. If rocks could fill a hungry belly, I'd pay more attention to them. But they can't, so I don't. Now leave me be. I mean, they can, but I don't think you'd be any better for it. Can't you see I'm resting? Why are you asking me about crystals? Just take a few steps in the wilderness and you'll practically trip over them. Now, what do you mean that's not what you're looking for? Why do you think I care? I can't say I've ever seen statues quite like these before. I take it these designs are meant to evoke a Mumu Ja's head? Of course, I understand the desire to immortalize one's forebears with stone objects. My people do much the same, yet to build structures of stones in the middle of such lush forests. No matter how many times I see it, I always find it peculiar. Why isn't this an interesting line of inquiry? Yoctel was once rich with ores of all hues, but I've never heard of one shaped like a teardrop. It'd take a skilled artisan to make a shape like that. Perhaps some force were applied to the ore right at the moment of crystallization? Or perhaps the tears themselves were crystallized? But those are only idle thoughts. Either way, I've never seen such a thing with my own eyes. So what have we learned? Not much of use from where I stand. I would suggest we approach our questioning from a different angle. I'd say one thing for certain, it isn't that the stone is rare indeed. So instead of seeking it outright, perhaps we should first seek someone who collects such objects. Good, then we are decided. Let us not lose heart yet. A gatherer, Mamook? A friend of mine has a particular knack for it. Every time he came back from a scouting mission, he would have some rare specimen in his hands. It was a nice way to earn some extra coin. He's no longer with us, unfortunately, but his grandson works at Gomajik Grove. And here is a deft hand himself. The boy's name was... In other words, you forgot. Or didn't give enough of a shit to learn in the first place. A collection of rare stones and plants, you say? I'm sure I've heard of at least one. Yes, I recall the young Gosu Jia mentioning his grandfather had quite the collection. He's bringing back all sorts of bits and bobs back from his reconnoiters. I admit it's been quite a while since I've spoken to Gosu Jia, so I can see whether he's held on to his grandfather's belongings. Sounds very familiar. I believe this Gosu Jia's grandfather may be the very collector we seek. Or may have been, rather. Still, the obvious course of action is to speak with Gushul's Jaw and see if he still possesses any of his grandfather's belongings. Let us depart to Gomajik Grove. Everywhere surrounded with trees of unimaginable height, I feel so small in comparison. The clan of the air known as the Rava, who dwelleth in the Golmor jungles, would likely be unmoved by such a sight. Said their eyes would seek out places where their natural complexion would allow them to blend into the surrounding foliage. By contrast, the Viera of my tribe are most suited to camouflaging themselves among the snow-capped mountaintops. So the fauna of this place does have unique coloring. Perhaps I could disguise myself if I so desired. You turned around for a moment. Oh, hello, did you need something from me? You are Gusul Jia, yes? Grandson of a renowned collector, as we have heard? I am, and my grandfather was indeed fond of showing off his collection. But how in the world did you know that? Well, that explains everything. Still, this is quite an unexpected visit. We thank you for indulging us. So did your grandsire's collection contain anything that might resemble the stones we told you about? Yes, your description made me recall one of my favorites, in fact. Sad to say I lost it when I was a child, though, but my memory of it is crystal clear. I see. Unfortunately, memory is not enough for us to judge whether the two are related. I may know where he found it. As you heard, my grandfather served as a scout when the Mumujal and Jral were at war. He was known as a swimmer without equal and used the cenotes to travel to every corner of the forest unnoticed. Cenotes, those are the strings which dot the forest, correct? Are you saying they connect somehow? Yes, a network of tunnels runs under the earth. One can travel the width and breadth of the forest, if you know where to go, that is. I remember my grandfather said he found the crystal on a mission to Ikbrax. It was lying there on the cenote floor, as if it was waiting for him. It's likely that he found it in Ikbrax Soli, where the waters once ran red as blood. The Jbral would bury their fallen warriors there, and none expected a scout to be bold enough to trespass. The story has promise. The sounds we found before were pulled from deep layers of the earth formed at a time immediately following the meteorite's impact. There is no telling how far down these tunnels reach, but doubtless they pass through the same layers. Naturally, material from these layers would corrode and settle at the bottom of the cenotes. Yes, this has promise indeed. Gusoja, you have given us direction. Thank you, truly. No, thank you for allowing me to remember my grandfather so fondly. May you find that which you seek. Let's make our way to Ixbrax slowly. So this is Ixbrax Soli. I find it hard to believe that these waters were once stained red with the blood of war. Luckily, the cenote is now clear and our vision should be unclouded as we search. Or should I say your vision? This is difficult to confess. As you know, I was trained among the snowy mountaintops. You can imagine how poorly I might fare in a body of water. Though it shakes me to place this burden on your shoulders, I would rather my soul not join those that were set adrift in this cenote. That is, of course, assuming you possess the skill that I lack. We have a blessing that allows us to breathe underwater, so yeah. Good, thank you. I've ever been able to depend on you when I find myself wanting. You shall be the example I strive to emulate in my future travels. I shall stay here and await your safe return. Good luck. Why won't it let me dive? Okay, so we got the thing. You made it. You were down there for so long, I began to fear the worst. Must be half fish for how indefatigable your lungs are. So, did you find aught? The best of my recollection, this looks almost exactly like the stone Master Shunwei had. Its shape, that unmistakable blue. We did it. It appears our intuition was correct after all. This crystal is a remnant of a grievous wound dealt to the earth. 'Twas the case in ancient times, and 'twas the case 50 years ago. We must return to Master Shunwei with haste. Well, I mean, we know something happened. It doesn't necessarily mean it was a meteorite. I mean, it could be volcanic. And I guess that is kind of a bit of a long shot, but I mean, it's a theory. Never seen too so excited to bring me a delivery. I take it something good is in store? Oh, where did you... You really find this in Yoctel? But how? You dived to the bottom of a cenotape? The waters are so cold and the caves so labyrinthine. Not to mention a single misplaced stroke would cloud your vision with sediment. And so here you are before me, and I'm more grateful for that than anything else. Shinny's apothecary could ask for none more skilled, none more brave than you two. I'll start examining this right away. Soon we'll have our answers. You found the impossible. I can say without a shadow of doubt that this fragment is made of the very same material that as the azure tears I found in my ruined home. Have we proven your theory? As the true nature of these stones and how your village met its fate? I am now certain that these stones form much in the same way as obsidian does near volcanoes. When minerals are melted by extreme heat, they cool into glassy lumps. In this case, when the meteor struck, the heat must have not only melted the earth, but sent it flying into the heavens. And in the air, it cooled into the shape of wilted petals, the shape of tears. But they hold something else as well. The meteorite brought instantaneous destruction to the area of its impact. All the plants, animals, and people gone. Their life force scattered into the air. I see. It is ether which sleeps in these stones. When that energy fails to return to the life stream, it crystallizes. Just so. Now these are more than mere lumps of glass. The blue light is the shining essence of all that was taken from me. So now he can finally let himself grieve. For 50 years I searched, and for 50 years I knew one thing. That answers would never bring them back. I knew that even if I proved the cause of my tragedy, that revelation would bring no comfort. Even so. The land of Toral wept that day, for all that was lost in an instant. Now that I know that, I can move beyond my sorrow. I can remember my family as they were. Their smiles, those bright days we shared, our happiness. Thank you. You too, I feel as if a great weight has been lifted from my shoulders. Then nature's grand cycle, the life I lived back then shall remain a shining beacon. I knew you had not strayed far from your roots. We simply had to help you dig them up again. It may soon be time to depart upon another journey, the first in a long while. Not to find a new family per se, but to attune myself to nature's rhythm once again. You have brought me pieces of a much greater whole that I would rejoin. I shall let the wind's breath carry me where it will, and so long as the boundless horizon is before me, I shall walk. A worthy goal. Although you may tire of my praise, I'd like to express my thanks to you both once more. You have been exceptional help if you did nothing more than gather what I asked, but you went far beyond that. Likewise, I learned more of the Shatona than I could have hoped. Yet my own quest is far from over. I take this opportunity to go out into Dawntrail and experience all it has to offer, the culture of the Shatona included. So, if indeed you plan on leaving the city, I ask that you allow me to join you. Besides, the journey is only as good as your companions, or so they say. You pose an interesting question. I can't say I had a particular destination in mind, so a trip across the salt would be as good as any. First, I might find someone to guide me across the world's breadth in exchange for a ramble around Toral. Does anyone suitable spring to mind? Either way, these are decisions to be made in the future. For now, I don't intend to close up shop. Truly? Regardless of my reason for staying in this apothecary, I've become quite fond of it, to say nothing of my loyal customers. Abandoning them without notice would be unseemly. And besides, how long do you believe you can travel with such a light coin purse, Uvlo? Sleeping under the stars and foraging for your own food will only take you so far. Soon you'll be penniless, and Toral's less hospitable climes might very well take you. I can... You can stay here and earn a bit more coin before our trek. I'd be a terrible owner if I let my best workers be so reckless. So for a while at least, let's continue on as we have been. There's so much more to be done after all. Oh, this time we have to choose. We don't just get all of them. That's disappointing. That is very disappointing. And so that was the end of the Botanist Minor role quest. Thank you for joining us here today for this little video here on YouTube. Hopefully we'll see you again either for another video on YouTube or maybe one of our many streams over on Twitch. Till then though, I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day.